أعزائي الطلاب السلام عليكم. لسه موضوعنا اللي هو chapter 5 and we still in ER and ER relational mapping. Okay, we didn't finish the ER mapping, so today we will finish ER mapping and EER mapping will be next week. Okay, so let's before starting just make a fast review. So all the previous chapters was to how to construct or to gather the requirements to come up with the ER diagram, which represents all the entities in our in our database, and the relationship between these entities, the information or attributes of each entity, and the participation of each entity in a relationship, one to many, one to one, and so on. So if you see here, the entity employee has several relationships with other entities. For example, it's the many site for the work for department. It's the many site for works on. It's the many site and the one site for the supervision. Okay. Uh, what we mean by mapping, we need to convert this into the relational schema. So each entity will become a relation. Employee entity and the mapping will become a relation consists تتكون من اللي هي all the attributes اللي في ال ER diagram plus any other um, foreign keys regarding the relationship with other entities. For example, employee here we have the first name, the middle name or last name. These were composite attribute, and we put the simple attributes of the composite. We don't use the composite, we use the simple attributes that compose the complex or composite attribute. Okay, here we have a primary key comes from the key from the entity, البيرث date attribute, الادرس attribute, السكس attribute, salary attribute, supervision. It's this is a foreign key refers to the supervisor who is supervising this employee. Okay, but supervisor here we have is a foreign key. Each employee has a supervisor. What's his social security number? It's the same key because he's an employee too, so we put it as a foreign key here. Okay, this is to represent the relationship supervised. For example, the employee works on department. Okay, and the department is the many part or the many participant, the employee. So in the employee we put the department number in the relation works for which employee, which department. So this is the foreign key of the departments where the employee works on. So the relationship between the employee works on department, we explicitly put the key, primary key of the department number, which is the department number. We put it here as a foreign key in the employee as where this employee works. So we put the primary key of the one part in the many part, which is employee. We put the primary key and it became like a foreign key here. So we know now in the relational schema this employee who's supervisor by knowing his social security number and in which department he is working. Okay, so that's what we mean by mapping. We convert the ER diagram into this relational schema, which is these tables is the records that will be stored in the database. So here, this employee will become a table after inserting the first employee, second employee, Ahmed, Ali. It will be a table in our database. Okay, and so how to convert the ER into this relational schema. That this was our topic in the last class. So because not a lot of you have seen the lecture, so I need to make a very fast review. Mapping of regular entity set. If we have entity like employee, department, all strong, because we have strong entity and weak entity. So the strong entity became a relation. So this is what we call in the relational schema a relation. Okay, the employee, department, all these entities became relations. Okay, these relations we have to choose a primary key which is unique among all the entities in this relation. Okay, as a primary key. It was a key in the ER, now it's a primary key. Okay, we add all the attributes to this relation, and we call it most of the time the same as in the ER. Okay, so this is how we map the regular entities. How to map a weak entity set? Weak entity set, you know that it has no key, it has a partial key. So, and it has identifying relationship, and it has an owner entity. Okay, for example, the employee has dependents. Okay, dependents it's or dependents depend on employee. Dependents is weak entity لأن ما فيها key, هي partial key اللي for example النame. How to map it? We make it a relation, and we put a foreign key for which is in this relation, which is the primary key for whom the entity in the dependent belongs to which employee. We put his key as a foreign key in the mapping. Okay, so the primary key will become the foreign key that comes from the owner entity plus the partial key of the weak entity. Okay, it's the combination of the both. And if there is any more attributes of the dependent entity, we add it to the relation dependent or to the weak relation in general. Okay, we took mapping one-to-one relation sets. So in the one-to-one relationship, we choose any of the relation. For example, if we have relationship between S and T, so this is S is an entity and T is an entity. Okay, so we choose, for example, the S relation and put the primary key of T in this relation as a foreign key to represent which entity in S has a relationship to which entity in T by recognizing or by observing a foreign key, which is the primary key in T. Okay, okay, it's better to choose the total participation because in one-to-one relationship, we have partial participation and total participation. For example, all employees are working for department, so the total participation is the employee. So in the total participation, we put the foreign key of the department that this employee works on. Okay, we do include, of course, we have to put all the attributes to in the relation if there is attributes for this relation one to one. And we took these examples, mapping the binary one to many relation sets. We go to the same thing to one, but here we go to the many side of the relation, and we put the foreign key in the many side belongs to which entity. For example, if the many side represents the um, S represents the many side, then we go to S and insert the primary key of the other relation that that belongs that specify the relationship between this entity in S and which entity in R. Okay, so the primary key when we put it in another of one entity or on one relation, put it in another relation, it became or called اللي هو ايش الفورين key. Okay, and we include all simple attributes. We include them in this relation that we put. We decide in the money side. We put all the attributes. We add them to the relation, to this relation. Besides a foreign key that uh, represent to which this entity related with in the other entity in the one side entity or relation. Okay, and we took mapping الباينري اللي هي الماني to many relationship. So we for many to many relationship we choose to make a relation separate relation for this to many relationship. So we don't add prior foreign keys to any of the relations. We make the relationship by itself as a relation, and we put in this relation the foreign keys from both entities that involved in this relationship. Foreign key from, for example, if we have two relations S and R, and we have many-to-many relationship between them, and we have so we make this relation as, for example, R as a relation. In this relation, we put all the attributes of the relationship besides a foreign key from S and a foreign key from R. Okay. So this is how we map the many-to-many relationship, and here you go examples. We explained them last time. Of course, here there is a note. You can all the time one-to-one with one-to-many. You can make them relations too. So you have the choice for one-to-one and one-to-many to make them separate relations with the keys from the relations اللي هي relationship between them. For example, S and R. So we make a relation R and put a foreign key from S and a foreign key from T in this R, and besides the simple attributes of the relationship. Okay. So you have two choices في one to one and one to many, but you have no choices for في many to many relationship, because you have to make it a relation by itself, including foreign keys from the two relations besides its simple attributes of the relation itself. Okay. Okay, how to map a multi-valued attribute? For example, department have multiple locations. So we generate a relation R for the multi-valued attribute, and in this attribute we put a primary key from the original relation it belongs to, and the locations or the values of the attribute, the different values of that. Okay. For example, department locations is created the attribute اللي هو department location اللي هي multi valued attribute. So locations of the department. So we make this relation as a relation اللي هي for example دي location, ونحط اللي هو ال D number of the department as a foreign key which is primary key for the department, and the location اللي هو موجود فيه for example. So the primary key became in the multi-valued attribute relation will be اللي هو ال department number for example, will location will be location will department location at the same time. So two of them will be the primary key in this relation. Okay, let's see here how the locations department location. So department location is multi-valued attribute for the department. So we make it a relation by itself. We put here the department number and the department location. Okay, So it has many locations. Department number one, Amman. Department one, اللي هو for example الصرف. So the same department have many locations. So this is why we should separate them in different relations. Okay. Okay. Then mapping an-array relationship sets. An-array, this means we have binary relation between two entities, and we have maybe a relation between three or four entities in the ER diagram. So what we do here is like we make a relation. We make a relation. An array. This means the number number of entities is greater than two. So we have to create a new relation اللي هي we call it here S for example to represent اللي هي this an array relation to represent R. What we include in this S for example foreign key attributes في ال S يكون هم ال primary keys of the relations that represent اللي هو entities اللي هو ال relationship between them. So if we have three or four entities have a relationship together, we make a relation for this relationship and put the keys for all the entities uh, involved in this relationship as foreign keys. Okay. Besides, if this relationship has attributes, we include them in this relation. For example, supply here. Supply, okay, it's between supplier and between a project and between part. Okay, um, it's an or three array relationship. So this three between three entities. So we make a relation called supply, and we put in this supply اللي هي السبلاي primary key for the supplier, the primary key for the project, the primary key for the part, and the attribute that belongs to this relation, which is the quantity. So it will look like this. Supply, it will be mapped like a separate relation. Okay. So mapping in general, mapping will be summary of all these things is the ER model. Here relational model. The ER model we have entities set like for example اللي هي department, employment, employee, project. هذول كلهم these strong entities will become relations. Okay. One to one to many relation set. We put a foreign key in one of the relations. One of the relations referencing the other relation. Okay. So and here in one to one, it's better to put it the foreign key in the total participation entity. For one to many, it's better to put it in the many side relation or entity of the relation. Okay. In many to many relation set, we make a relation with two foreign keys, each of one. The first foreign key belongs to the first relation, the second foreign key belongs to the second relation, and we make this relation. These two foreign keys will make the primary key for this relation, besides the attributes. If we have an array relationship set, this means we have more than two entities involved in this relationship. So what we do, we make a relation and we have an foreign keys. So each entity involved in this relationship, we put a foreign key inside this relation, referencing this the involving entity or involving relation. A simple attribute. will be attribute in the relation that we that represents an entity في ER diagram. The composite attribute, we don't put composite, we put the set of the simple component attribute. So if the composite attribute is the address, we put the city, street, apartment number attributes in the relation. The multi-valued attribute will become a relation multi-value attribute with foreign key. The foreign key is the primary key. Multi-value attribute belongs to a relation, so we put the primary key for this relation as foreign key in the relation that represents the multi-valued. Besides the اللي هو الvalue أو multi values in this relation. The value set will become the domain والkey attribute can be primary or secondary key. So we have maybe in the AR more than one key. So it became one of them should be primary or secondary key. Okay. So this is how we map the ER diagram to relational schema. المحاضرة القادمة راح تكون اللي هي how to map ال ER to relational schema or relational mapping. Remember EER including superclass or subclasses and how to deal with them. This will be the subject of our next class. Thank you and see you in other classes inshallah.